President Trump signed his massive budget bill into law on Friday. We brought it to you live. The legislation increases spending for border security and defense and extends Trump's 2017 tax cuts. It also makes steep cuts to safety net programs, including SNAP and Medicaid. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent discussed that legislation yesterday.
We are going to see wages accelerate, and we are going to see, just as we saw with President Trump's first tax bill, we are making permanent these tax cuts. And what happened in 2017, 2018 was the highest wage earners went from paying 37% of all taxes to 45%. So that's going to be permanent now. So permanently, the highest 10% will pay a higher percent of the taxes.
Joining us now is Juliegrace Brufke, who covers Capitol Hill for 24 Site News. Great to have you with us. Good morning to you. So we just heard there an explanation on the tax component, but when it comes to Medicaid and SNAP, how soon might Americans feel the impact of those cuts? Because I understand there's a bit of a delay, which means some of those programs may not be cut until after the midterm elections. Help us understand.
There is. So there, especially with Medicaid, should be a phase-in with a bunch of those cuts. So really, those full effects won't be felt until 2028 till 2031. Now, some of the other aspects of the bill, including the no tax on tips, should set in right away, which Republican lawmakers are applauding. But when it comes to SNAP and Medicaid, that should be more of a delay, even potentially past the Trump administration.
It's interesting. So what has the reaction been on Capitol Hill since the passage of the bill? We already know, it falls along party lines, but what are some interesting reactions that you've seen?
Well, Republicans have definitely been taking a victory lap, and I do think there are some Republicans that are in swing districts that did have some reservations about the bill. They're slightly nervous about the impact that it might have on the midterms, and Democrats are definitely looking to hit them on the Medicaid component of this bill moving forward. And I think we'll hear a lot of Democrats kind of arguing moving forward as the midterms approach that this bill hits the lowest income Americans while giving billionaires a tax break. And obviously, Republicans will be combating that, arguing that it's going to kind of inject into the economy and help economic growth.
Can you help us understand then what we should expect between now and the midterms? Because we saw House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have this marathon morning speech to delay passage of the bill on Friday, but it ultimately just delayed the inevitable. So if I take everything that you've said, which is that we won't really see the SNAP or Medicaid cuts hit until after the midterms, the tax policy changes won't be noticeable at least until next year. So how can Americans really know, I guess, what politicians are saying, if it's accurate or not, without really feeling it? Because each side is going to act as if this is the best and or worst thing.
Well, absolutely. And each of those sides are definitely going to be touting those respective talking points. Now, that being said, some of the concerns that Republican lawmakers have had, Speaker Johnson has said that they'll try and address in a second reconciliation bill. So some of those concerns, they're kind of hoping to get a second bill in there to kind of tackle some of those issues moving forward. So we'll see kind of if they're able to get that done and what if impacts that's going to have on American and what the timeline will be on those provisions.
Yeah, and if viewers want to, they can just read the bill, 900 pages, smooth read, nice for the week maybe. Juliegrace Brufke, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.